People are continuing to place sandbags here in McGregor as people are concerned this flooded area could get even bigger. And if you move further to center field, then you could see the outfield light contact you through the mail rather than on the phone. Tree debris just like this one here. For Congresswoman Finkenauer, does the federal government need to spend more to fix the state's infrastructure? Emergency officials are concerned that these high winds could pick up these loose pieces. Each city needs to send a request to a coordinating agency who could send it to the state, who could then send it to someone else. Plus, he was walking in the dark. But isn't that what your bill is doing?
My bill is not dictating curriculum. My bill is simply saying we're not going to use this as history curriculum.
Actually trying to make our way back downtown from Northwest Cedar Rapids than ever. Plus, we're all wearing some type of mask. 45 days to file this document listing all the charges after an arrest. The Lynn County Attorney's Office thought that 45-day clock. Jim, let's introduce you to this tool. It's called NamUs behind me. It stores DNA, dental records, and fingerprints from missing person cases. Law enforcement use NamUs to identify people rather than bodies going unidentified, possibly cremated, and eliminating any hope for closure. We found some law enforcement agencies don't use it, and some don't know it even exists.
Looking
Authorities
for a teenage girl.
Their photos
Then drive at 8.
and descriptions are all on the state's missing persons clearinghouse, around 300 total. But a simple search shows only 105 are on NamUs, a federal database used to identify bodies. The other 200 are once again missing.
Honestly, the not knowing is a whole lot worse than if I knew either way.
Marilyn McAllister Snelling's son, David,
Big, huge heart.
wasn't in the federal system for about 3 months. She's concerned his body was already found during that time period and cremated, meaning nobody will ever find her son ever.
It's such an emptiness that you can never fill. So the pain is more than physical pain. You know, it's physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual. It's just such an empty space.
The Department of Public Safety says local law enforcement agencies are responsible for sending information to NamUs. Those include Wapello County Sheriff Don Phillips, but until NamUs called his office looking for DNA, he didn't know about the resource.
I had no idea, I've seen it before, we get flyers and stuff, but I didn't know what all they did.
The Wapello Sheriff's Office is not alone. For about 5 years, Joshua Lampe has been missing. His name is not on NamUs. City of Carroll police say they didn't even know the database existed. We asked about 30 other law enforcement agencies. 20% of those who responded didn't know about it either. We found the state doesn't teach it. A public records request shows NamUs doesn't appear in any of the 45 pages of training related to missing person investigations at Iowa's Law Enforcement Academy.
The state of Iowa is not required to report information to NamUs, and so we don't discuss it at the local level.
Why not?
Can't answer that question.
The state should have a law that it's automatic.
McAllister Snelling thinks she has the answer. A new law requiring law enforcement to report missing people like her son, so no other parent has to wonder if their missing child was already found and never identified.
Everybody should get the same treatment, whether they're a 6-year-old girl or a 40-year-old man. It doesn't matter. They should get exactly the same treatment, and that doesn't happen.
These 13 states, according to the Department of Justice, passed legislation mandating the use of NamUs. Multiple Iowa lawmakers told us they are researching the database to possibly propose a bill next session. In studio, Ethan Stein, KCRG TV 9 News. We drove past a man matching the description deputies gave of the man who they say shot a Lynn County deputy.
Yeah, he is 200 yards.
That's our photographer, Mike, calling 911. We told them our location on Aldrich Road near Highway 13 and began recording on our phones. Amy Kriegel watched it on her patio with her cat Muffet. She couldn't believe what she was seeing.
Oh my, get the phone, get in the house.
Within a minute, law enforcement arrived and surrounded Stanley Donahue. A few minutes later, he was in custody.
The one cop came out, jumped out of his car, hollered down, and the guy got down on the ground. And then it was like he was going to try and get away, and another cop came, and then he stayed down.
News Drone 9 captured him being led to a squad car. the ending of a 14-hour manhunt.
It was insane. Who would have thought? I would have thought it'd been long gone. You know, but he wasn't. He was still hanging out around here.
In Coggin, Ethan Stein, KCRG TV 9 News. Hey, Jim. Well, it starts at the Iowa Department of Corrections. They send a recommendation to the Iowa Board of Parole. Then a few members on the board vote if an inmate should be allowed out of prison. Now, inmates with mandatory minimums, they are not eligible to go through this process. But we found one case state officials at the end of the line, those overseeing those on parole, call a big mistake.
You do the best you can, I guess.
For this mother of two, the memories are difficult.
You cry a lot.
Over her past life with Mario Goodson.
I had some on my face, my neck, and my hand.
A police report says Goodson punched Thomas until her nose bled, pushed her head into her mirror, breaking it, and coerced her into sex. He was convicted and sentenced to 25 years. His previous sex crimes meant he was required to serve at least 21 years. But after just 2 years, records show the Department of Corrections recommended Goodson for work release. The Iowa Board of Parole approved it, letting him leave prison.
I think I spent the whole night crying because I thought he was really getting out, and I didn't know how that was possible.
Thomas only learned about his release from her daughter, who got a notice from a crime victim website and called her mom. State law requires victims get a notice and a chance to testify at parole hearings, but Thomas was never notified. Emails we received show she was not put into a database used to notify victims. 2 days later, Goodson was back in prison with the director of another state agency, sharing it as another example of how effed up the system is becoming.
Surprised and concerned.
The prosecutor, Black Hawk County Attorney Brian Williams, did not know Goodson was set to get out. He says Goodson was not eligible, and his record makes the decision more confusing.
Very surprised, even without the mandatory minimum.
Why?
Because sexual abuse in and of itself is obviously concerning, regardless of someone's criminal history. But here we're dealing with somebody who had a prior, which is the basis for the 85% to begin with, is because there was a prior sexual abuse. Those are some of the most dangerous people in any community.
Court record shows Goodson has been convicted of around 30 crimes, including violation of probation. Iowa Code says that behavior, along with his past criminal history, should factor into parole board decisions. State law also asks the parole board to consider a person's behavior when in prison and participation in institutional programs. Our I-9 team made public records requests related to Goodson and found he was disciplined for multiple major violations in prison, like participating in a fight with around 7 inmates. And emails I-9 received show he did not complete sexual abuse treatment. Another email from the Iowa Department of Corrections called Goodson a moderate to high risk, thus the work release recommendation. The Department of Corrections and the Iowa Parole Board refused to speak with TV9 about this case on the phone or on camera. A spokesperson for the Board of Parole says it keeps no physical case files. In a statement, the Board of Parole says Goodson was released due to a discrepancy in his time calculation and quickly taken back into DOC custody. The Department of Corrections also says the discrepancy was due to a unique appeal process, and an audit to see if other issues existed confirmed no further issues persisted. Emails I-9 received shows concerns about Goodson's release went unanswered, with one staffer saying, "What do I do with him since we aren't getting an answer?"
You can't, how's that possible?
For Annie Thomas, her fear over those 2 days are etched into her memory. Another painful memory from another life she hopes nobody else has to experience.
I don't want to sit here and make it sound like my case is so bad. I am doing this for anybody else this could impact and affect, because this can't happen. It can't keep happening.
Tomorrow, we're going to show you how 2 former Iowa Board of Parole members argue more illegal parole decisions happen and how those actions could affect the amount of tax dollars used throughout the state. In studio, Ethan Stein, KCRG TV 9 News.
Well, we have no access to our computer system. The server base is apparently still tied up.
A Cedar Rapids bus driver is giving us the first look at why a cyber attack shut down the Cedar Rapids Community School District for a week. For more than 2 weeks, the district has refused to answer any questions about what it calls a cybersecurity incident.
And today, one employee told our KCRG TV9 I-9 investigative team that the district is still feeling its effect. Now, she spoke with I-9 reporter Ethan Stein about how it's still impacting her as well. Ethan?
Jim, her name is Christine Houston. She's been driving a school bus for 13 years. This is her in the photo the district uses to try to hire more drivers like her. She says the cyber attack has affected how she does her job, and with the district refusing to answer any questions about the incident, she's giving us some glimpse into the cyber attack that is still being felt. Cedar Rapids School Board President David Tominski. For more than 2 weeks,
your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice
hasn't called us back.
I love my job and I love the district, but I feel like sometimes the district doesn't love us back.
Bus driver Christine Houston is the first person to tell us about the incident. She's scared she'll lose her job, but says she's frustrated about not being able to work and therefore not getting paid.
It may be pennies to the people upstairs, but it's a car payment, it's a house payment, it's food for a week.
The document she gave us asking her creditors to give her some grace because she won't be paid describes the incident as a security breach. According to the Iowa Attorney General's website, it defines a security breach as any unauthorized acquisition of personal information. Law requires the school report to the AG's office if at least 500 people are affected. According to an AG spokesperson, the district has not sent any notification. Regardless, Houston believes her information was leaked because she says she's been getting texts from somebody trying to sell her miracle pills.
What if they have my social security card, some number or something, and they definitely know my name, they have my phone number, so what else could they have?
She's not the only person with this concern. Erin Davis, with 3 kids in the school district, is concerned her children's data is leaked too. She thinks parents deserve to know.
That's my kids. The district has to do with my children and their education and their well-being. The parents deserve to know what's going on within our district at all times.
We sent these concerns to the district with a list of questions, including, do you think the district is being transparent? It sent us an email not answering that question, saying it would send something in the mail to staff tomorrow, leaving the public
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
hanging on the phone. We've previously reported the city of Muscatine had a ransomware attack around 2017. Spokesperson for the city did not understand why the district has not been able to release any information. In studio, Ethan Stein, KCRG TV9 News.